Saturday, 19th of July 2014. Here's the latest update from NEO.
Well, you just heard the old song, "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." You know, it's 1 strike, 2 strikes, 3 strikes, you're out. And, you know, nobody can be any closer to 3 strikes than the cabal right now. I mean, they're making fools of themselves all over the world, but dangerous fools. They're not just sitting there letting anything grow under their feet. They're firing their bullets. They're shooting down planes. They're doing everything they have to do to stay in the game. But in the end, they're losing their allies. Germany doesn't like the way they're playing the game, and neither does France. Germany is leaving the NATO and going to leave the European Union, and they're going to end up with the BRICS. That's what we know. So that's going to be a good game. The only reason Germany's been in to this date is because of the drugs. The drugs that come in from the east over to the NATO bases, and they run right through the NATO bases, and Germany gets a piece of that, as well as the French and everybody else. So they're going to stay in there as long as that money's there, but they're tired. They're not going to represent that group any longer. They're trying to clean their act up. The miracle, you're doing something right anyway. Anyway, so let's go to the next thing here. How do I want to stop all this? There's so much. Just give me a second to let my head swirl. You know, I mean, we got Karen Hudes making statements that Wolfgang Struck is in charge of the Global Accounts, and that's a joke. He's got counterfeit papers like everybody else in the Philippines. But there's a couple of people there with real notes and real documents. But they can't do anything either, because Marcos was never really an official M1, because he was never elected, he was appointed. So, you know, the story about Marcos is very simple. Graduated from a school in the United States in New York, a law school, flew back to, or returned to the Philippines, was told by Santa Romana he had to divorce his wife if he wanted to become president. He divorced his wife, who also had his first son, and the heir to his everything he's got is Louis Reyes. And Louis Reyes is alive today. So it's not as though everything just went to everybody else. Louis is alive. So that you know, and again, they talk about Marcos. And you know, everything Marcos had in gold was given to the cabal right before he left the Philippines at the end. Otherwise, they weren't going to help him out, and they were taking him out of the Philippines. He would have stayed there and he would have died in the revolution. So he gave up everything. And all the assets that belonged to Marcos, or not belonged, but were in his control, management, most of it, everything. Marcos was a nominee for the Dragon family, as well as Dalai Lama, as well as Mandela, as well as Queen Juliana, Queen Beatrice's mother. You know, it's all there. You know, there's not anybody who really didn't get their hands into something, and the Dragon family tried to spread it out properly so that all the people who supposedly were in power would be able to distribute it accordingly later, you know, through just humanitarian packages, but they would have to come back through the Dragon family. And without the Dragon family's permission, they can't do anything. That's why Wolfgang, you know, Wolfgang could fake those, but that's why if they were real, couldn't do anything. That's why the people over here, the elders, they can't do anything, because even if they're real, they have to go back through the Dragon family. They haven't gone that way. They're trying to do it themselves so they can all make the money directly. And what's happening is a lot of them get in trouble and they get put in jail, and a lot of them are given a spanking, but they're allowed to go home. You know, I can't see that. So I got a note here. What does this say?
It says the Statute of Limitations.
Yeah, I'm going to get that. I'll do it now because we might forget that. Karen Hudes gets up there and she tells everybody with that look on her face, with a smile like, I got something special. You know, and there's a statute of limitations and it's run out. Which means, you know, all the assets that belong to the East go to Karen Hudes and Wolfgang. Karen, get a little surprise for you. First of all, the Bretton Woods Agreement probably died 4 days after it was signed because of the thefts by the West, and most especially the United States, or our Zionist corporation, okay? And Karen, you're part of that Zionist corporation, and we're well aware of that, okay? You're working with those boys. You have worked with those boys. Look, you got Henry C. and Lucius Tan you're working with in the Philippines. Stop it. Don't tell me you're a good girl and that you're trying to help us. You've tried to bury everybody with your bullshit. If you're throwing up bullshit, Karen, you're right. Some of it might stick. In your case, it didn't stick. Too many people caught on to you too soon. Anyway, Karen is Karen. Let's just leave it at that. Nothing's going to happen to those assets. There is nothing. It can't go to the World Bank. First of all, the World Bank's not going to be existing much. It's not going to exist much longer. It's a dilapidated old jalopy right now. It needs fixing. It needs money, and this money is not going to end up in their coffer. Okay. There's going to be a new World Bank. It's going to be over here in Asia. They've already got their own banks going up, as you know. There's going to be money and money and money distributed from here. They're not giving it to Karen Hudes. They're not giving it to the World Bank. And Karen Hudes and the World Bank have nothing to say about it. It's not theirs. Okay, Karen Hudes, you have nothing to say about anything, but you have too much to say about everything. So it doesn't make sense to me that we allow you to continue doing that. And people, those of you who follow her, shame on you. You deserve to get the beating she's giving you. Okay? Now, what else is there that I have to deal with here? Let me get my glasses on so I can see some things too. There's so much out there. We talked about this. The no-fly. The no-fly is also going to be signed very shortly. There's many more nations involved than the initial no-fly document. It's maybe 172 nations. We're talking about 174 are going to sign, and we're not going to allow, that's what doesn't make sense. Karen Hudes is saying one thing, but we know another. Okay, the document's going to be signed. We're not going to let the Zionist Corporation fly into South America anymore. They're not going to have their escape route in Paraguay. It's all going to be blocked. They're not going to be able to even probably fly into Europe other than England with the way things are going, because all these countries are going to step down and they're going to leave the European Union and they're going to get into BRICS. And they're all going to set their own things up, and what's going to happen is our Zionistic corporation, which is trying to intimidate the hell out of us in the United States with their police and their mercs and everything else, they're not going to go anywhere. They're going to be in this little place, and we're going to lock them in and we're going to squeeze them, and you know what we're going to do? We're going to feed them to the damn fish. Because of what they're trying to do to us, we're going to do to them. The table's going to be turned, and we're going to have the world behind us when it happens. We're not going to have just a couple of nations. We're going to have the whole world, because nobody wants them around anymore. They don't want them. They want them gone. So all you boys, understand something. You know, when this happens, you know, the bad guys are going to go underground. And if you let them go underground, shame on you, because they're going to be releasing bacteria and viruses and everything else so that you die. You, your families, your children, and that's the plan. And Obama's got a brand new bunker right in his home, in the White House. They're going to go down there, they're going to hide down there, they're going to smell the air maybe in a few years or something, and they're going to come out and they're going to say, whoa, everybody's dead. And you know something? That's how they're going to depopulate you. And others. It's not going to be nice. It's not going to be nice. So it's better we get ready now rather than later. And things are happening quickly in this whole sphere right now. Did I talk about the plane yet? No. You know, we're talking about that plane, which is crazy. The plane that was it started from Amsterdam?
Yes, it did.
You know, it started from Amsterdam and it ended up in the Ukraine, but it was designated for Malaysia. That's a Boeing. That was a Boeing. And the Boeing has the remote control device inside the plane that they can actually control from remote. They can control it. Well, that plane was taken right off its course, and nobody could do anything about it. You know, and I've heard that Boeing had control of the remote, and that they're the ones who changed the course. And that when they changed the course, also the Kiev government, Ukraine government, which represents the West now, they were waiting for it. On that plane happened to be people, chemists, scientists involving AIDS, who are, Jesus, they're the best in the world, some of these people, in regards to the curing and the treatment of AIDS and cancers and everything else. And they took them down. I wonder why. I wonder why. You know, and it's not Putin. It's far from Putin. As a matter of fact, that's why Putin's running for the black box. And that's why the U.S. corporation and their boys are running for the black box as well. Because it shows what happened. You know, and the U.S. doesn't want you to know that. Because it's them. They're trying to smear Putin so that they can actually take control. You people living in the United States watching that television, you're learning nothing, you're hearing nothing. You're hearing the crap that they're putting on the television, is what you're hearing. Turn the televisions off, it's better for you than to think like you're thinking. Okay, it's no good. They control the television. I mean, they control everything. I mean, how many times have I seen the Holocaust? They created the Holocaust. You know, so, I mean, I'm watching their show that they created, not only the show, but the actual event. So, you know, it's got to stop. It's stopping now, I hope, and